Hello everybody, this is Gruesome Fox coming at you with a 500 cost rated match in the buffed Pale Rider D2. We're going to be on Mining City for this match here, and the D2 was buffed as part of the March 2026 unit adjustments. This was a unit that I knew I needed to cover as soon as I saw it on the adjustment list, because the D2 is a suit I have talked about in the past with my Pale Rider series, which if you haven't seen was a series I did where I covered all the Pale Riders that were at the time currently playable in GBO2, that is excluding the light equipment type that we got because that version was not in the game yet. But any other Pale Rider that was in GBO2, I played it during that series and gave my thoughts about all of them in a final ranking video. And the D2 was a suit that really kicked off that series kind of unintentionally. It kind of sent me into a rabbit hole looking at all the Pale Riders here. But the point with the D2 is that I really found it to be the worst of the Pale Riders. I really found it to be a forgotten unit in GBO2, and in my final ranking I did put it at the very bottom of the list. So really kind of the big question I'm asking myself here with this video here is that with these adjustments, would I change the position of the D2 on my final ranking? Would I move it up in any way? I mean, it was at the bottom, it only has up to go, so not really too much to kind of go from there. But yeah, that's what we will be taking a look at today. And we'll start off with the changes they made to the unit. The D2 is a support type mobile suit. It is a native to 450 and goes up to 500 at level 2, which is the version I am using in this video here. But looking at the changes they made to the unit here, starting off with the unit specs, the unit skill, High-Performance Balancer level 1, has been given. For the level 2, thrusters have been enhanced from 55 to 60. For the level 2 unit skill, Force Injector level 1 has been adjusted to level 2. And moving to our sub-weapons here, the D2 Shekinah Gatling gun had its power increased from 120 to 130, with upper levels also being enhanced. The reload has been shortened from 20 seconds to 15 seconds, and the rate of fire has been increased. For the D2 Shekinah missile launcher, the stagger accumulation value has been enhanced, and for the level 2 version of the weapon, its power has been increased from 630 to 700. And finally, for the D2 Shekinah Mega Beam, the focus for this weapon has been shortened from 1.5 seconds to 1 second, and for the level 2 version of the weapon, its power has been increased from 2,420 to 2,600. And that here is everything we have for the adjustment list. A very short list for the D2. Actually, I really would have thought this unit would have gone a bit more considering its performance looking at the reference data. Yeah, this suit really was struggling to kind of keep up here. Pretty much even all of its stats are just not looking good. Its damage was lower than the support average. Win rate and rival win rate were low. So, yeah, definitely seems from the reference data here that this suit was struggling. So, again, really thought it would get a bit more here, but looking at what the unit did get, I do think the D2 did get some nice adjustments on paper here. They did add High-Performance Balancer, which is definitely a big plus for the D2. That is something that I believe I was asking for when I did my series on it. I thought High-Performance Balancer would be really good for this unit, and from the matches I did get with it, it is quite useful to have here. So definitely a big pro in terms of the skills here. And looking at the weapons, I think having the reduced reloads is nice. The rate of fire on the Gatling gun is also a nice improvement, so really do like the way that feels. Stagger accumulation on the missile launchers is also really nice. Always nice to have a better way to stagger your enemy, especially since the D2 does not have any readily available instant stuns. Everything you have needs to be charged. And speaking of charged, with the Mega Beam, you do have that shortened focus time, so definitely much easier to have that charged up and ready to use. And really, again, kind of on paper, I think these are some alright adjustments for the D2. The biggest thing I've experienced playing it is that I feel like I have gotten better results with the level 2 at 500 compared to the native 450 version of the D2. At 450, I really feel like the suit has been performing the same as when I initially played it for my Pale Rider series. just a overall really mediocre support unit that is kind of outclassed by everything else at 450. One of my big points in my Pale Rider series is that 450 also has the White Rider, which is still, in my opinion, a pretty good support unit, and definitely, in my opinion, still much better than the D2 here. And you do also have the Prototype Camphor, which is another suit that has a really good machine gun. So 450 just has some better support options, if you ask me. But at 500, I have been getting some pretty okay, if not really good results with the D2. And I think a big part of that is that a lot of the adjustments here are more tailored for the level 2 version of the units. It did get that improved thrusters and improved force injector, and the level 2 weapons, some of them did get some improved power, so I feel like at 500 a lot of these adjustments are maybe a bit more noticeable compared to 450. I really wish the adjustments here were mostly applied to both units, kind of just doing a overall buff there instead of having so much for the level 2 only. I think what they added here for the level 2 would have been very nice for the level 1. I don't understand why they kind of split it the way they did with that, but really, again, that might just be more of a me thing there. Again, I've just had better experience with the 500 compared to 450. Maybe for other players that might be different. But I guess the big question here, you know, kind of the big thing I brought up earlier, is that would I move this suit in my Pale Rider series ranking? And honestly, maybe not. If I were to move this on my Pale Rider list, I could maybe see it being one up on like the 9th spot, maybe going above the Red Rider. That's as far as I can really see it going in terms of adjustments, and again, I think the level 2 version is really kind of carrying that opinion for me. I really can just not see the D2 performing much better than, again, many of the supports that are available at 450 and 500 currently. I still think there's a lot more that could have and should have been done with this unit, and really, again, on paper, I think it's a good kind of change that they did here. They added the High-Performance Balancer, which was probably the biggest thing I was asking for this unit, but aside from that, yeah, I really think the D2 could use a lot more, especially at its native cost. Again, I think that version should have gotten a lot of the adjustments that the level 2 did. They really should have shared that between both levels instead of keeping it towards one, but you know, maybe, again, the opinions on this suit might be different. Maybe it's just the experiences that I had using it that I got better 500 performance than 450. So really going to be something that I'm curious to see in the comments if anybody has used this unit after the adjustments and if they may have gotten some better 450 matches compared to what I have gotten. But that is going to be timeout mission over, and let's see how we did here with the buffed Pale Rider D2 in 500. And yep, gonna have that mission complete with some good works in the side there. And yeah, did get top in damage dealt for the team here. And second place with 4 kills and 2 loss. So not too bad of a match there. Again, did get first in damage. So yeah, kind of what I was saying. I feel like the damage that you get on the level 2, much more noticeable compared to the level 1 here. But yeah, that's going to be everything for the match there. And to kind of just summarize everything here, yeah, I think the D2 could have definitely used more, especially at native. 500, again, doesn't feel too bad, oddly enough. That one does feel like it got a lot better with the adjustment, but I still think the D2 has a ways to go before it competes with any of the kind of more highly picked 450 and 500 units. It, again, just still really feels like it doesn't have enough to kind of bring it into the forefront here. But yeah, that's going to be everything I have here for this video. Comment down below what you think about the buffed Pale Rider D2. Remember to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. And with that, I will see you all in the next one. Later.